My fellow masters, what's good everyone? Yes, it's FGO Adventures here, and I am still alive and kicking. Well, somewhat I suppose. It has been quite a while since my last video, which was back in January I believe? Wow, that long huh? I'm really sorry for that. I know I disappointed those that were waiting for my banner SQ overview for the year, and I'm sorry for not giving up an update status of some sort. Life unfortunately just threw a few too many curveballs at me near the end of January and onward. I won't go into too much detail, but suffice it to say something blew up at work in a major way and it turned into a never-ending series of train wrecks. Then, subsequently, my health took a nosedive and I just got completely overwhelmed. So the channel and making videos were the furthest thing from my mind. It took a lot longer than I would have liked to get back to some semblance of calm for work and health. I had hoped to get a video out for the Grail Live collab event, but alas, that was not to be. Hoping to get back into it as I've missed making FGO content and interacting with my viewers. So now that it looks like I can once again dedicate a portion of time and energy to the channel, I figured a quick event overview for the Grail Front, my Super Camelot, would be a good way to break the ice as it were. This Grail Front event will run from May 8th 0100 PDT through to May 21st 2059 PDT, an approximate duration of 3 weeks, but in actuality the event itself can be cleared in the first week. To be eligible for this Grail Front, you only need to have cleared Fuyuki. Thus, newer masters can join in on these mini Holy Grail wars and collect some goodies. Now, Grail Front type events are fairly straightforward. Those that have already played through the previous Grail Front held in February will know what to expect. If you're a newer player, and this will be your first Grail Front, then here is a brief overview. There will be a series of battle quests which are supposed to be abstractions of a Holy Grail war. You will be brought to a special battlefield map where you will need to choose servants among your own roster that correspond to the appropriate class icons. There will be no friend support option. Tap inside the frame in order to select a servant and equip them with the craft essence if you so choose. Keep in mind that there is a total cost that will affect the party you can field, similar to a regular battle. Once you're done with the setup, tap the Begin Front button to commence the battle. To move around the map, tap the desired servant and the spaces within their movement range will be displayed, along with the movement points it will cost. Please also keep in mind that servants have a limited number of actions per turn as well, indicated by the number at the top right corner of the servant icon. By tapping one of the highlighted empty spaces, your servant will move there assuming they have enough actions and there are movement points available. To attack, move one of your servants to a space that is occupied by an enemy servant or master. Of course, this assumes there are enough movement points and actions available. Servants, both yours and the enemies that are occupying spaces next to your target, will also join the battle. So be mindful of this as there will be times when you may have to fight a 1v2 battle. The battle itself will play out like the usual servant fights we're used to. Whoever initiated the battle will go first, which can be very advantageous. And the number of turns allotted for the battle is based on the number of servants used to initiate the attack. As for the masters on the field, both yours and the enemies, they can be used to initiate attacks as well, but only against each other. Masters cannot attack servants directly. When a master is attacked, either by a servant or the other master, a simple animation will be shown along with the targeted master taking damage to their endurance gauge. Once the endurance gauge is depleted, the master is defeated and the Grail Front will immediately end. So there are essentially two ways to win. Defeat all the enemy servants, or defeat the enemy master. Winning a Grail Front round will result in a tier of the Holy Grail being awarded. Clear all 7 Grail Front rounds and exchange the 7 tiers for 1 full Holy Grail. The exchange can be done through the appropriate section in the Da Vinci Workshop. Each Grail Front round will have a staggered release as shown on this schedule. For the most part, my Super Camelot should function similarly to the previous Grail Fronts, though there are a few new things added this time around. First off, there will be a predefined support servant to help. These support servants will be automatically placed on the map and do not count towards their total cost. They will also count towards the enemy's victory conditions, so even if all your own servants are defeated, if you still have any support servants remaining along with your master, the Grail Front will continue. Another new feature of the Grail Front are treasure chests that can be found placed throughout the map. The contents of these treasure chests will vary depending on the rarity of the chest, and can range from QP to different types of ascension materials. A few things to note about the rewards from the treasure chests. You will only receive the rewards from claimed treasure chests once the particular Grail Front quest is won. If you withdraw in the middle of the Grail Front or lose, you will not receive the reward. The rewards can only be received once, so if you were to repeat a cleared Grail Front quest, then any treasure chest claimed prior will no longer appear on the map. However, if you clear a Grail Front quest without claiming a particular treasure chest, then that unclaimed chest will appear if you repeat the quest. Enemy units will be unable to claim any chests. The rewards are for you alone to claim. And the final new addition to the Grail Fronts are the inclusion of so-called dangerous enemies. They can be considered an extra objective since defeating them is not required to win the Grail Front. These dangerous enemies will typically be guarding a high-tier treasure chest to give a bit of an incentive to go after them. But watch out for their relatively large HP pools and an additional break bar compared to the regular enemy servants. Oh, and they will also be equipped with decent craft essences too. Now let's talk about the goodies one can obtain from the Grail Front quests. Mentioned earlier are the tiers of the Holy Grail, which can be exchanged for a full Holy Grail once all 7 tiers are collected. But in addition to that, clearing each Grail Front quest will also net you 1 summon ticket, for a potential total of 7 altogether. Definitely something you want if you happen to be saving up for a highly anticipated servant coming up in the near future. Here is a look at the first clear rewards of each Grail Front quest. The first Grail Front will provide 5 reactor cores and 3 million QP, on top of the tier of the Holy Grail and summon ticket. The second Grail Front quest has 5 primordial lanugos and 3 million QP upon first completion. For the third Grail Front quest, there will be 5 Tear Stones of Blood and 3 million QP. The fourth quest will provide 5 Spirit Roots and 3 million QP. Grail Front quest number 5 will have 5 Reverse Dragon Scales and QP. Completing the sixth quest will net you 5 Divine Wine and associated QP. And lastly, for the 7th Grail Front, there will be 5 Flaming Oni Lantern Plants and the usual 3 million QP to be gained upon first completion. Of course, we can't forget about the rewards from the treasure chests. 5 Fool's Chains and 1 million QP from the first Grail Front, 5 Rainbow Thread and 2 million QP from the second quest, 5 Leyline Spiritrons and 100 Mana Prisms from the third. The fourth quest, Treasure Chest, will provide 3 Night Medals and 5 Foreign God Hearts. The fifth quest provides 5 Eggs of Truth and 3 Octuplet Crystals, with the sixth Grail Front quest having 5 Skooma Mirrors and 3 Phoenix Feathers. And lastly, the 7th Grail Front Treasure Chests will provide 1 Crystallized Lore, 100 Mana Prisms, and 2 million QP. Naturally, there is a summon banner, or banners considering there are 2 SSRs on Raid Up, and with a Grail Front theme like My Super Camelot, it comes as no surprise that the majority of the roundtable casts are featured. Story-locked SSR Artoria Pendragon Lancer and the permanent SSR Saber Mordred will headline their respective banners. Story-locked SR Gawain and permanent SR Lancelot will be the 4 stars on Raid Up along with Lancer Artoria, while Mordred will have story-locked SR Tristan and Lancelot as her featured Raid Up 4-star servants. There are also 2 rank up quests. Lancer Artoria gets a buff to her first skill, giving it additional effects of separate bonus damage against chaotic alignment enemies and evil alignment enemies 30 to 50% respectively for 1 turn. It's not bad, though I really wish all of the effects of this skill were increased to 3 turns. The other rank up quest is for Tristan, also for his first skill. It's pretty nice as the new effects include a 3-turn buff to his quick performance, 20 to 30%, a party-wide debuff removal, an upgrade from just affecting mental debuffs previously, and increased party-wide healing from previous as well. Oh, and Mordred Spiritron Dress Memories of Trephis will now be permanently available at a cost of 5 rare prisms from the newly added dressmaking section of the Da Vinci Workshop. That is, if you don't already have it. Now, if you're a fan of any of these servants, especially Lancer Artoria and Mordred, I'm sure it might be tempting to roll. However, have no fear, there will be other opportunities to roll for them in the future. Gawain and Tristan are expected to be featured on Oberon's banner, and again next year during the Singularity Repair Support campaign. While Lancer Artoria and Mordred will both always be available during the Valentine's banner every February. Plus, both are options for the SSR Special Free Summon that will be implemented during the 6th anniversary in July. So just a relatively simple overview for my Super Camelot this time around. The really Grail fronts are pretty straightforward anyway, with no need for any excessive farming and whatnot. It could be argued that an overview really isn't necessary, but I at least wanted to work on a video even if it's fairly simple, you know, something to just start the ball rolling again. I know there were many that were looking forward to my banner SQ guide back in January, and were no doubt disappointed when nothing happened with that. I really do feel bad about it, and for the long abrupt hiatus. Please know that it wasn't my first choice if it could have been helped. At any rate, I'm glad to be back at it, getting back into the flow of things again, and I hope to have another video out in the next week as things are back to a point where I can work on content again. That said, I'd like to hear about everyone's rolls over the past few months. How did they go? Were you able to get your targets, or has it been strictly saving for Lost Belt 6 and the 6th anniversary? Please leave me a comment. Next video will be sort of playing catch up with the whole SQ ticket expectation for LB6 and the anniversary. So please hit that like button if you're looking forward to my take on things. Thank you for watching, and please enjoy this latest Grail Front event. Cheers everyone!